Welcome to the FF Forge. My name is Steve, and today we're going to finish up all of our rankings videos with the tight end position. Now, I went through a fairly in-depth explanation for the temperature gauges here, the expected floors, ceilings, and my expected range. So please go and check that out in the, did I say that? In the quarterbacks video is that explanation towards the beginning, of course, in the intro. So if you would like to know more about those, that's where you can find it. I see no reason in repeating myself there. So let's just get to the rankings. Now, I will repeat this portion in case you haven't seen other videos. I am choosing who I am talking about in this video based on players who I have a significant difference with. That is a subjective significantness to the ECR, the Expert Consensus Ranking from Fantasy Pros website, and then I'll talk about the players who I have much higher or much lower than the ECR. For the tight ends, I did take out Darren Waller and Logan Thomas because they're obviously not being ranked as projectors will rank them if we know they are playing. So that just helps to keep this a little cleaner up here as far as how different I am from the experts. So let's just start out with my number one tight ends for this week. And it begins with Mark Andrews, of course, with no Kelsey this week to potentially supersede him. Then we have Dallas Goedert at second, Tyler Higbee, George Kittle, Pat Freiermuth, TJ Hockenson, Zach Wilson, Dawson Knox, Dalton Schultz, Evan Ingram, Taysom Hill, and Robert Tonyan to wrap it out. Now, I'll just mention right here, I don't like having Robert Tonyan as a starter, but 'tis the position. Speaking of that, it goes up to the tight end. Oh my gosh. You see this little green double line here, and each week I've kind of been giving you I'm comfortable with playing, for the quarterbacks and the tight ends, comfortable with playing any of these tight ends without having to feel like I have to go out and replace them, because there is just this big mosh pit from, what is it this week? Tight end, I think even 7, 6, down to 20, where you could make arguments. There's really only a smash top 5 that you're going to feel super comfortable with playing this week. After that, we start to get into typical tight end territory, like I said, all the way down to Hunter Henry. After that, I might be thinking about getting a replacement. Other thing about tight end is that I just suggest that you take a guy, and for the most part, you just stick with him through thick and through thin, because they just hit at a certain percentage, like 1 in 3 games is pretty much what you're going to be expecting from these guys as far as giving you better than not good games, getting a touchdown for you, essentially. That is that. We covered our top 12. Let's just start with Zach Ertz, who I have 4 spots behind the ECR. I have him ranked 7th, and the ECR and him is 3rd, and you might have seen me jump past them as far as sure plays. I am concerned about Zach Ertz going forward. I talked about this even preseason with Zach Ertz, that once this team got to full health, now, of course, they're not quite at full health without Marquise Brown, so that probably helps. Marquise Brown. So that probably helps Zach Ertz here to maybe maintain what he's been for the first half of this season so far, through 7 weeks of the fantasy season. But I am concerned that he's just not going to have that same target share. He's not going to be as sure of a thing going forward. Probably moves himself into this section of tight ends. Now, the good thing is maybe that offense will be better and more touchdown opportunities will present themselves, and maybe he takes advantage of that. So obviously not a drop candidate or anything, but I don't think he'll be as surefire of a play going forward. Then Evan Ingram, I have 5 spots behind, ahead of the ECR. I have him at 10. The ECR on him is 15. He is my Mr. Consistent play. He is the last one here where I'm like, hey, I'd rather just take the guaranteed points compared to feeling like anything could happen with Taysom Hill. That's a good feeling for some, and for others that's a scary feeling, and I think part of that just comes down to your roster makeup. Do you have a bunch of guys that are unreliable week in and week out, that you just need 2 of them to boom and you're going to win your week? Well, yeah, then put Taysom Hill out there, because Evan Ingram's probably not going to give you enough points to potentially put you over that edge that you might need to get over if some of your other guys fail. That's Evan Ingram there. Who are they going up against this week? Going up against Denver, so part of the reason I trusted this was my my temperature gauge over here, and the fact that where Denver got banged up last week is in their linebacking core. So maybe that will help to make things a little bit better for the tight ends. And one way that you can help to offset the pressure from a good defense like Denver is to make some of those shorter throws to check downs like an Evan Ingram. So continue to expect him to see his normal target share this week is essentially all it comes down to. Taysom Hill, I have 5 spots behind the ECR. I'm at 11th. The ECR is 6th. There's nothing to say. If you are a Taysom Hill owner, you know what you've gotten yourself into. Most likely, you like that. So, you go ahead and you start him, girl. I'm not a huge Taysom. I don't like that kind of player, is all that it is. Taysom, he's cool. Also, he's broken my rankings this year. So, my projections, I should say, this year. So, it looks funky over there. But the projected number does put him up here. And also, he has his own heat gauge because of the quality of targets that he gets. The quality of production that he gets is just so off of the charts that he makes everybody else look cold on the temperature gauge. Moving on to my tight end 2s. As we know, through Hunter Henry are, I think, like the back end starting group of tight ends. But starting off with 13, I have Kyle Pitts, followed by Greg Dulcich. I said that. Greg Dulcich. Cade Otton, Hayden Hurst, Irv Smith Jr., Mike Gesicki, Harrison Bryant, Hunter Henry, Cole Kmet, Noah Fant, said it properly, Tyler Conklin, and Will Dissly. Starting right off at the top here, Kyle Pitts, I do not have as a start. I have him ranked 13th. The ECR on him is 9, so I am 4 spots behind the ECR. He might go right ahead of Robert Tonyan there. I just liked Robert Tonyan's being against Buffalo. There is somewhat of a ceiling there. Now, the reason that I said in the beginning that I don't like Robert Tonyan is he was not mentioned in the name of Aaron Jones and who's the wide receiver, Allen Lazard, as far as players that Aaron Rodgers thinks need to have their reps cut. Like, Aaron Rodgers thinks everybody on this offense needs their reps cut except for those 2. So the fact that he didn't get named in those guys that he trusts after the game was, I think, a little bit surprising, and probably showed itself really last week that he didn't get some dominant amount of targets or anything. So obviously Rodgers is not happy with where Tonyan's mind has been at during games. Usually I like what Aaron Rodgers has to say at this point, but to be honest, his say of this Buffalo, it might have been the best thing for them, this loss last week. I those felt more like words being said than true emotion and true feelings on that whole loss there and coming up against Buffalo this week. But we'll see. Backs against the wall. Aaron Rodgers has done it before. But as far as Kyle Pitts goes, I can't trust that Atlanta offense to throw the ball enough times to get me into this ceiling or into this expected range even. They just will not throw that ball. If they just throw it 5 more times a freaking game, that would be very much helpful. So we'll see if that changes. And then Harrison Bryant is the last one we'll need to really talk about here. I have him at 19. The ECR on him is 24. Obviously, it's a risky spot where I'm putting him up here at 19, but I do believe in him, and I believe in the role of the starting tight end in Cleveland. I believe in both of those, and I believe that the quarterback likes to target tight ends to a certain extreme. So I'm comfortable with him over some of these very questionable guys. Tyler Conklin did get a couple more targets last week, so that was promising, especially with that offense now going to look different. Maybe he'll enter this conversation again coming up. And ignore my projections, just seem to love him for whatever reason. They won't let go. Sorry, I keep doing that. And then Darren Waller, if he were to play, I would put him up above, I think I would have him up around the 7th tight end, maybe, because don't they have a good matchup? No, New Orleans is really good against tight ends. I believe they're really, really good against tight ends. So that's not a lie. Yeah, I'd have him up maybe as tight end 12, maybe tight end 12 for Darren Waller. And for Logan Thomas, he would probably make this a 21 tight end group if he were to come back and be expected to get a just a normal load of work. That is it for the tight end videos. Previously did do the quarterback videos and earlier this morning running back and wide receiver videos, so go on and check all of those out. All of my rankings will be up on the website on Thursday, www.theffforge.com, and they are final come Sunday morning. They might be final come Saturday night too, but to for sure get the final rankings, just come visit me live an hour prior to the main slate of games. I will not be going up earlier than the Sunday morning game, and don't forget about that Sunday morning game, Denver versus whoever Denver is playing. Denver versus Jacksonville in that morning game, so set an alarm to look those up before that game kicks off in case you have players that might get ruled out late. Other than that, peace out. Good luck this week. I will see you in the Saturday special, which is where I will go through any storylines, injury updates, and my start-sit type columns. So subscribe to get notified for that. Get that up as early as I can on Saturday. It's been anywhere from mid-morning to mid-afternoon before I've gotten that up. All right. Peace out. Thank you. Bye-bye.